The ground split beneath his feet, buildings cracked like paper, and screams filled the streets, but all Michael could think about was saving that little boy trapped under the rubble. Michael Turner, a 36-year-old single father, had faced many storms in life, but none like this one. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning in Los Angeles. He had dropped his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, at school and gone to work at the construction company where he had been employed for nearly a decade. But by noon, the earth itself decided to test him in ways he never imagined. The earthquake hit hard, 7.8 on the scale. Sirens wailed, glass shattered, and chaos erupted everywhere. As people ran for their lives, Michael saw a collapsed car near the office gate. Beneath it, a small boy was crying, trapped by debris. Without hesitation, Michael threw away his safety helmet and rushed toward him. He ignored the falling chunks of concrete, ignoring the shouts of his supervisor who yelled, "Michael, get back here!" But Michael couldn't. He remembered Lily, how scared she'd be if she were in that boy's place. He lifted the heavy slab with trembling arms, blood dripping from a cut on his forehead. It took every ounce of his strength, but he freed the boy and carried him to safety. Moments later, the office building behind him collapsed completely. The shockwave threw Michael to the ground. His vision blurred, and when he woke up, he was lying on a stretcher, surrounded by paramedics. The boy's mother, her clothes covered in dust, was kneeling beside him, crying with gratitude. "You saved my son," she said, gripping his hand. But before Michael could reply, everything faded into darkness. When he regained consciousness hours later in the hospital, he learned the worst news. His company had been destroyed. The owner had decided to cut staff to survive the economic fallout, and Michael, who didn't show up after the quake, was among those fired. That night, Michael sat on the edge of his bed, holding Lily close. His hands trembled as he whispered, "I don't know what we'll do, sweetheart. But I promise you we'll be okay." Lily looked up at him with innocent eyes. "Daddy, God saw what you did. He'll take care of us." Michael smiled weakly. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe that good deeds still meant something in a world that often rewarded power over kindness. The next day, he returned home after visiting what was left of his office, just piles of dust and steel. His phone was dead, his wallet empty, and his heart heavy. But just as he turned onto his street, something made him stop. His small, worn-down house was surrounded by 10 gleaming Ferraris. Red, black, white all lined neatly in front of his gate. Neighbors gathered, whispering and pointing. Michael froze, thinking it must be some mistake. Ethan motioned for her to sit. And for the first time, the CEO and the waitress spoke not as employer and worker, but as two souls bound by fate. Ethan told her about Daniel's ideas, his ambition, and how he'd been desperate to secure funding to pay for his sister's hospital bills. Lily cried quietly, realizing her brother had been working for her till the end. But then Ethan added, "There's more." A week after he vanished, his car was found near the river. No one ever found him. The words hit her like a blade. Her brother was gone, or so it seemed. Weeks passed. Ethan couldn't shake off the encounter. Something about Daniel's disappearance didn't feel right. He used his resources to reopen the case privately, while Lily kept working, unaware that the man she'd served coffee to every morning was now fighting to uncover the truth for her. One cold evening, Ethan called Lily to his office. She came nervously, wiping her hands on her apron. When she entered, she saw a folder on his desk and her brother's photo on top. Ethan smiled softly. "Lily, I found him." Her heart nearly stopped. "WH what?" "He's alive. Daniel was injured and lost his memory. He's been living in a rehabilitation center under a different name. He was found in a remote town months ago." Lily broke down sobbing, her hands shaking uncontrollably. "Oh my God, my brother, he's alive?" Ethan nodded, emotion thick in his voice. "Yes. He's been waiting, he just didn't know for who." Days later, when Lily finally met Daniel again, the moment was overwhelming. He looked thinner, older, but the moment their eyes met, something inside him clicked. He whispered her name, "Lily?" And she fell into his arms, crying uncontrollably. Ethan stood silently a few feet away, tears glistening in his own eyes. For the first time in years, his heart felt light not as a CEO, but as a father and a human being who had witnessed the miracle of family and love. After Daniel recovered, Ethan offered him a position in his company. "Your ideas deserve to shine," he said. "And your sister deserves the world." Lily continued working, but not as a waitress anymore. Ethan helped her study business, and soon she was managing one of his company's departments. One evening, as the sun set over the skyline, Lily turned to Ethan and said softly, "Sir, you changed our lives." "I don't know how to thank you." Ethan smiled, looking out at the horizon. "You already did, Lily. You reminded me that some things are worth more than money, like family, loyalty, and hope." And as the city lights flickered below, 3 broken lives stood together, healed by fate, by kindness, and by the unspoken belief that no one is ever truly lost.